Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Look at Jared. He's got his concentration face because he's finishing a task, I think. Welcome in. Glad to spend some more time with you. I'm starting to like that we're doing these like recurring. Let's see. Let me fix this mic. Hold on. I don't like how that sounds. Give me 1 second. All right. We should have a little juicier mic now. Does that sound pretty good, Jared? You're muted, by the way.
Yes, that sounds good.
Perfect. Well, yeah, we're going to do a photo critique, as you know. So we have a bunch of submissions from earlier. If we don't critique your photos, I'm sorry, we got like way more than we were expecting. So we're going to jump through a bunch. The thing that's true about this, though, is like real estate media, there's a right way to do things. And I think you will get the hint about common errors after reviewing the first shoot. So what we're going to try not to do is dive too much into we don't want to get it into where it's like a critique session that makes you focus on the wrong things. And so what I think a lot of photographers do wrong in this business is because, you know, there's the industry tells you that your photos are what's going to make the difference in your business. And so when you focus too much on that, it kind of redirects your attention from what actually matters to what doesn't matter. So like I said, if you were in the broadcast channel when I was talking about this live on Instagram, which if you're not in my broadcast channel, it's new, you should join. I was like, we want to get you just to the point of the bar being like where you meet the industry standard and your photos are good. I'm not saying your photos are like bad or like barely good enough. I'm saying like once you reach that standard, it's like a box checked off, and like any more time on it is kind of a waste. And so we're going to dive into it. Before we do that, I'd love to see, it said 2 doses of Jared today. Yeah, I missed the live Q&A, so I don't know if Jared was feeling spicy or not. You never know. You never know. Anyway, so what I was going to say is I'd love to see a little bit more about where you're at. We have 31 people in here. I would imagine we don't have a ton of experienced people in here. I could be wrong. So just let me know in the comments where you're at. If you've started your business, if you're consistently doing shoots, if you're full-time, put some effort in there, do a little typing for us. It really helps us kind of dial in the live. So, and we're not going to do any critiques until we see that because it helps me. First of all, it's also fun on our end to see that. Let's see how many I have while we're waiting for that. So I have 7 pulled up right now, 7 shoots that we're going to go through. A couple of these only have a few photos in them. I don't know if the email sent instructions to only send like 5, but there's a lot of them that had 5 photos. Do you know if that was in the instructions, Jared?
I don't.
Okay, so we're flying blind. We were told when to show up and what to critique, and here we are. The team did the rest of the heavy lifting. So
yeah, and I will preface this with I can critique my own photos, so nobody get your feelings hurt. And I will try to say ahead of time I would deliver these at Norman and Young and never say a word. So
I don't know if you saw my YouTube video, Jared. I did a photo critique, like actual YouTube video on Sunday, and that was like my standard. I kept being like, but we would totally deliver these at Norman and Young. So there was a couple that I was like, we would happily deliver these at Norman and Young.
The idea of these is they're 99% of the time they're good to send to a client, but if we can make you 1% better every time, that adds up.
Yeah, especially if you're 3% under where you need to be. So okay, let's see. Been shooting for almost 2 years, just starting. What's up, Dave? Full-time Insta method and rep. Nice. Christopher, keep grinding it out. I know that's awful. It's boring, but keep doing it. I know you know that. Photography for 5 years, Arizona-based photographer. Owen said 20 shoots done. Nice. You're like well in that beginner stage, getting through all the little issues. 2 years or so, still learning. Michael, your photos are on the list. I know for a fact. So we're going to critique yours because actually yours, I think, were first up. It looks like 5 of them came through. I don't know if that's how many you sent. Started in November, first free shoot in January. Very nice. Been filming for 5 years, just getting into real estate. Brand new. Cool. All right, we're going to jump into it. Let me share my screen here. See if I can remember how to do this in this app. Select a tab to share. That's cool. Okay, here we go. Sharing. Everybody can now see, which is cool. So we're going to go to this one first. We're going to go to Michael's photos. Jared, can you see this right? If I go does it look good on the screen? I can't see the screen at the same time.
Yeah, it looks all right. It's a little small, but
is it? Can everybody see the photos acceptably or not really? Let me know.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Cool. All right, let me get that screen pulled back up. All right, I'm going to go through these. There's 5 in here. This is Michael. Michael, thanks for submitting. This is a great one to critique. I'm just curious if Jared's going to catch it. Jared, what are your thoughts on this? The photo is great, but what are your thoughts?
I like that you have a hard stop on the right side. You didn't show too much of the couch or too much of the wall. Not a whole lot you can do with these backed into a corner. I'm assuming there's like a TV or something behind you. I'm assuming you're in the corner, or there's a couch behind you. I probably would have dropped the camera down a little bit more to show a little bit more of that table.
Yeah.
You're far enough from the kitchen that I don't really think the underneath of the cabinets is going to hurt too much. I'm curious as to what you see that I don't. So looking for trash.
Yeah. Dude, this is such a good. I love that we started with this photo. Okay, so
the chairs are off.
Yes, Christopher, good work, sir. What I was saying, the point that I want to make that's like hilarious, because I get this too. It happens to everybody. You as a photographer get so freaking focused on the photo that you forget what's in the room. I promise, it took me a second to see this too. I promise you, if we asked a real estate agent what was wrong with this photo, immediately they'd be like, that chair needs to be straight. Because the chair is like straight up like facing that. And it's so interesting. I've told this story on a past live, but I want to share it again because I think if it doesn't like sum up what happens in this industry, like nothing else does, because this is the best way. So we did this shoot and we delivered it. And I actually did the shoot. And this is the time when we had 3 or 4 photographers. I did the shoot. It was a client we worked with like 10 times before, and nice house. We delivered the photos, and she writes back how the photos were awful. She said they don't compare to our past shoots. And she was like really mad about these photos. And that happens sometimes. And so, my approach was always, okay, I can solve this. It has to be your first, thing that comes to mind if you want to run a business, is like every problem is just a problem. It can be solved. It's not a bad thing. So I did my research. I pulled up the photos, of course, and I literally had a notepad, and I started taking notes about all the things that needed to be fixed in the photos. And I called the agent, and I was like, yeah, so like I made a list. I have some things. I see what you're saying, but like walk me through what you're thinking. And she literally said nothing that was on my list. My list was, the colors off on the photos, the exposure's off, the verticals aren't straight, like all of this stuff. And she was like, there's a hole in the wall in the master bedroom. There's dog poop in the backyard. There's a bunch of other stuff. And she didn't even see the same things I did. And I thought that was hilarious and a good lesson. So like real estate agents will 100% see what's in the shot, not the shot. Now, here's the thing. Maybe they wanted it like that. Michael's saying it's a model home. I would just generally make sure to look into your photos. I don't think it's virtually staged. Actually, it does look like it on the other screen, but on this one, I mean, it looks pretty real. But anyway, composition's great on that one. I thought composition was really good on this one too. I mean, great shot. These really don't. Is there something you wanted to say, Jared?
Yeah, Rain's light's not on. Other than that, anyone who's ever heard me critique knows I love hard stops to images. Like a lot of people would cut off that counter on the left side or show half the fridge. I like to show hard lines on the left and right of my photo, so that is the widest possible angle I could have gotten in that room.
Yeah, so real estate agents like the wide shots. That's the thing. And also like what Jared, we've shot a lot of real estate, both Jared and I, and Jared's trained a lot of photographers. I have too. Like, it's so funny because this is what they'll notice, that the range light is off. Even if it's like out, they're going to say that. And so it's just, that's what you kind of have to train yourself for, because these photos are great. I mean, there's nothing that really these are 100% deliverable at Norman and Young. Michael, is there any specific questions you have? I mean, I think these photos are awesome. I'm curious how long you've been in business. What's that?
I think that's way too much dresser. The bed's not centered. And the light fixture's not centered. Center on something, but I would have gone a little bit more to the right, shown a little bit less dresser, and shown the other side of that nightstand to get those hard stops on either side, and put that bed dead center in the middle. Because you cut a window off. You never want to cut a window off, especially with window pulls.
Yeah. So you're saying like here, you could kind of cut the photo?
Yeah, just move it a little bit more to the right. Get on the other side of that window or that nightstand.
Yeah. Deliverable at Norman and Young, more than deliverable.
Yeah.
Very good word. Yeah. Good job. Definitely, he said above, getting ready to start the Instagram method. Like, Michael started, your photos are awesome. It's time for you to get paid to shoot them. And so absolutely dive in with the Instagram method. All right, let's go to the next one from Stephen Webb. Stephen, thanks for submitting these. Any thoughts on this one, Jared?
Scoot back a little bit. That's way too much couch in the foreground. I probably would have taken a step to the left and half a step back just to get to the other side of that desk, but not just had that couch all up in your face. Send them to an editor unless this was a free shoot, but you can tell it's HDR.
Yeah, not the editing needs improvement. You can see, so for example, if you look at Michael's windows, see how they're nice and blue? That's what agents want in this industry most of the time. You'll sometimes have agents that like them a little washed out if the view's nasty, but like that's a great view. So that is a good editing change. Detail shots like this, if you do a detail shot, I'd recommend you keep the same aspect ratio. So like that's a square photo. I wouldn't recommend doing that. I also probably wouldn't recommend doing too many detail shots. Really, that's something that most agents don't like. And here's the thing, here's what you have to really pay attention to. Like every client has their own like specific thing. So some agents might want more detail shots than others, but generally if you deliver more than a few detail shots in a shoot, the agents aren't going to love that. But yeah, keep the aspect ratio the same.
And I'm going to give a compliment and a critique. So straight on, I'm very critical of straight on. Straight ons are high risk, high reward. I like that not only are your verticals straight, your horizontals are straight too. The top of your photo is straight with the wall, the bottom straight with the bottom of the fireplace. Now for the critique, if you're going to shoot a detail shot, pay attention to the details, pull that wire out.
Pull the wire, yeah. What are your thoughts, Jared? I think this one's pretty dang good, but
yeah, this one's good. Could have gone a little bit lower with how empty the room is. It feels a little bit high up, but I like that you got to the other side of the door. You didn't cut the door off. You showed a little bit of fireplace to show just both sides of that room. Like if I was looking at this, I have no question on, is there more of the room to the left? No. Is there more of the room to the right? No. I know there's a couch there. There's probably a wall behind that. This is the widest possible angle you could have got.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, you were right. It's the couch there and everything. That's a great shot.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Straight on.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark Paints Oil said in the comments a little overexposed. Yeah, I think that's an editor thing here.
That's because it's old school HDR.
Yeah, I would consider using, or more than consider, I would highly recommend using a hand blended. Editor's going to hand blend your photos. It'll just give you a little better window pulls. You'll have a little more consistency. It's pretty dark over here. It's light here. It'll smooth out a little bit more of that. That's kind of where the industry's gone. So yeah, overall, great job. Apart from the editing, we would totally have delivered those at Norman Young from a composition standpoint. So like, don't let that hold you back. Find a new editor. If you need a new editor, go to Pixel Mob, find an editor on there, test a couple, and you'll be good.
Pixelmob.com/rep will get you like $5 in credit.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You get a little bit of credit. Pixelmob.com. I'll put it in the chat. Pixelmob.com/rep. Pixelmob is pretty cool. It's a marketplace for real estate photo editors. It was actually created by a rep member or a team that are both rep members. So it's pretty cool. I just dropped that in the chat. Like Jared said, if you use the /rep, they give you like $5 in credit or something. I don't know. Every dollar counts.
Chris, save that question. I will answer that. Save that question for the end when we do the Q&A because I do want to answer that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Trey Alexander. Thanks for submitting. First photo, the straight on's great. I think we've gone a little up on. We generally don't want to see the underside of cabinets. So really in every other room but the kitchen, you want to have your tripod pretty much like waist level. In the kitchen, it's okay to bring it up until you don't see this. The straight on's good. What are your thoughts, Jared?
Yeah, I agree. I probably would have brought it up a little bit. And if you could scoot back a step. The more you bring it up, the less floor you're going to show. So usually we'll back up to compensate for that. The rest of it's kind of editor notes. If these were hand blended or like into HDR, the window's a little bit blown out. Like if you're shooting with an M50, that'll happen sometimes if it's a very dark room or anywhere that really bright meets really dark. Sometimes you'll get that bleed.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, your horizontals are good. Your verticals are good. Good composition.
Michael said his photos were done by a Pixelmob editor. So yeah, I mean, these ones are great, obviously. The editing's really clean. So for you, Steven, I would go find someone on Pixelmob. It's a great service. A lot of editors too. That's the thing. Pixelmob is not an editor. There are a bunch of editors you can try in there. It's like Fiverr just for real estate media. All right, got a detail shot here. Kind of risky to do these because again, most agents don't like them. The other thing too is if you're gonna do a detail shot, like you want to have it edited by the same editor. So like this is a pretty decent edit. Like this one, I can tell it feels more like a single exposure. So you want to keep a consistent way of shooting across. Now this may be like a portfolio because it seems like these are like a bunch of different houses. Maybe this is the same house. I don't know. But I just don't love the editing on this one. It's a little more lifestyle-y than agents will typically like.
Yeah, horizontal feels a little bit off. That left picture feels a little bit closer to the top than the right.
Yeah, something to do about it.
Other than that, I mean, it looks good. The white balance is a little bit off.
We wouldn't deliver this at Norman Young just because we don't really do shots like this. We don't try to do a lot of details unless the agent asks. But yeah, we'll keep moving on. The editing on this one is awful.
Yeah.
And I think that's my guess is this was either Photomatics and not retouched well after that, or it was like a really bad editor. So composition, I think, is fine. I would have gone a little more forward, not had like the kind of grungy edge of the sidewalk and grass there, but like the editing is bad here. We wouldn't deliver this at Norman Young.
Yeah, I mean that's I kind of I like to put like a little inch of like sidewalk
Yeah,
or
I see what you're saying.
I like to show that for the elevation shot. It's a very good elevation shot compositionally. It's the verticals are straight, horizontals are straight. Editing needs a lot of work. Find you an editor that does blue sky replacements for everything.
Yeah, sky's white. Let's see. Mr.
Love
Jared.
it.
Yeah, pretty good. You got as far back as you could.
There's something in the bathtub, but
I wonder if that's a design or if that's like the great they either way, shout out to you for whatever this was, not having it here or wherever else it was going to show up in the photo.
also shout out to you for showing just a little bit of door frame. We get so many people that are like, agents are asking me if I can use a wider lens. Do I need to buy a new lens? Like, no, you need to show a little bit of door frame. You need to show that this is as wide as it possibly gets. Like if I got a wider lens, it would look gross because you would see just too much.
So my thoughts are the angle, like the composition is good. It feels a little high. That house probably has pretty low ceilings. And I'm just looking at the countertop. I think you left your tripod like pretty high. So I would lower it down. And I just feel like I'm gonna whack my head on this looking at this photo. But I think you did like a pretty good job overall with the composition. I mean, your verticals are straight. You show a lot of the room. Any difference in opinion, Jared?
No, I was going to say the same thing. I mean, I like that you showed hard stops to either side of the room. You got a little bit on the right side, a little bit on the left side. It's as wide as it possibly gets. Drop your camera. That's how you can really tell a new photographer from an experienced photographer. Is an experienced photographer will play with camera heights. Empty room like this, drop it. Show more floor. Make it feel big. Make it feel spacious. You know, you don't really want to do that when there's furniture because you don't want to see the behind the couch. But even then, if you're shooting a straight on to the fireplace over the back of a couch, drop your camera down. Make it feel like you're sitting in that couch, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're newer to this, experiment with that. You know, if you're on site, drop your camera down a little bit. See how it looks.
Good feedback. All right. We got a whole lot of photos here. We're not going to do the drone ones right now, but we will start here. Oh, it's a drone one. I got burned right after saying that. Hold on. Got burned. Here we go. All right. This is a ground level shot. It's selected. There we go.
Makes you warm. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, this isn't gonna let me like go through the photos. Oh yes, it is. Okay. Composition. I like this shot. The editing's a little cool to me. It doesn't. You know what's so weird though, Jared? In the preview of the live feed, it looks warmer. Whereas like on my screen, it looks like it needs to go up in temp a little bit. That's an editing thing. What do we think about composition generally?
Yeah, it looks a little bit cool. I'm a contrast fiend. I would put a little bit of dehaze in this. I want those darks to be a little darker. As far as composition, it feels a little bit tilted up to me, but other than that, it's good.
Yeah. Virtual Twilight, I'm gonna skip that for now. There's a nice, pretty well done. What is that shot called again? I always forget the name of that.
Elevation shot.
It's a little messed up. That's a little so okay with an elevation. This is they call it an elevation because that's how it looks on like builder plans, and it's a shot you have to get every shoot. It's a straight on in the front of the house. I always like to make sure it's symmetrical though. So like, see how there's a huge gap here between the house and the edge of the photo, and there's like a tiny gap. So just moving to the right a little bit, it also kind of like center you more on the door a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like you went for a straight on and then you just turned left a little bit. It just feels a little bit off.
Yeah, yeah.
No complaints with that one.
We're gonna do like, for the sake of time, we're gonna do like 6 photos in here and then continue on to the others, just so we make sure to grab everybody.
Yeah, I like that you got to the other side. You got to the other side of the door and you got that corner in there to show that that's the end of the room, and then you showed all the way to the island. I like that.
I almost think you could have done. What do you think about like cutting it off here and just showing a little more over here?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, those chairs, they're going to know, like, that's where this ends. That's where the kitchen begins.
Like this one. See how it's like a little more balanced? Like you have this over here and you have this over here. It just feels like a little more like oriented. That's something I just want to talk about while we're here is like one of the first things that you have to learn when you're shooting real estate besides verticals is you always want to try to show 3 walls. So like this photo, for example, there's 1 wall, 2 walls, and 3 walls. A lot of new photographers will like cut the photo here and it's just kind of disorienting. Like, let's see if I can just zoom in a little. I don't think it's going to let me just do like no, it doesn't let me like customize the zoom, unfortunately. So I can't like show you what that would look like, but it just feels good. It's like the 3 walls, they nailed it on this one. Good one.
You kept the door open or closed. I always shoot with the door closed. It's just extra. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's personal preference.
Yeah. Looks good though. Are these deliverable at Norman & Young? Yes. I would say so. What are your thoughts? Like, would you deliver these? This one's a little low.
I would have taken the photo.
What's that?
I wouldn't have taken this photo, but
Yeah, I think one thing too is like definitely a little higher. We can see the underside of the cabinet. So if you're too straight on with the countertops, it's just it doesn't work. Like I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Bill just said you liked showing 3 walls. Yeah, so this is kind of, in my opinion, where it differs real estate and architecture or design. If it's like a design, like 2 walls is normal, but 3 walls, like we've done a ton of real estate shoots, right? And the feedback that we get if we do not capture 3 walls is the lens wasn't wide enough. You have a wider lens, can you show more? And so like composition wise, from a photographer's perspective, sure, like there's a lot you can do that real estate agents don't agree with, right? But it may be technically right. So yeah, we definitely like showing 3 walls. That's kind of non-negotiable.
dude, I'll show 4 walls if I can. It's possible in some rooms.
It is, yeah. Oh, this one, what they mess up, Jared? This is your favorite.
Horizontals are off.
Yep. It's almost straight on. I posted a video about that the other day, and someone was like, that's a good way to non-technical.
High risk, high reward. Like, practice your straight-ons, because if you turn to this a little bit more to the right, it could be awesome. Yes. Right now, it bothers the heck out of me because my OCD is just going nuts.
See what he's saying too, for anybody who didn't catch it, is I think you can see my mouse on this. Are you able to see my mouse on the screen, Jared? Oh, nice. Okay. So you see like the distance from this tile to the end is like way different than this tile. So like this camera just needs to pan to the right slightly. So yeah, I mean, overall the editing's clean on this one. Like I think the editing is really good. Pretty good shot there. I'd probably straighten up the chairs just a little better, but like overall, yeah, the thing is someone says the whites are too desaturated. That's kind of what's in right now. Like the agents like that. So I'm sure this house.
That's when I QC, I strip the yellows out of everything.
Yeah,
they like it a little bit more.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this one? I don't think we need to show as much over here, but I don't know what's over here.
Yeah, it depends on what's over on the right side, but it feels off to me. Like, yeah, I would have gone more. I would have gone on the left side frame. I would have just gone to the corner of the wall over there. It makes it feel a little bit more angled.
Do you know what the thing is though? Like, genuinely, Jared, like, is a client going to complain about any of this in these photos?
Oh,
no. So like, don't get discouraged. First of all, I will say too, and whoever, let's see, whose is this? Oh, I don't see their name, so I can't shout them out. But like, I was gonna say shout them out right as I just like roasted, but I'm roasting myself when I say this. Okay, the photography is very little of this equation. Just talking about the photos, the editing is like the biggest difference maker for sure. And so like these photos with crappy HDR are gonna look awful, and they look good with hand blended. Okay, it's Brandon. Nice, yeah. So, are you a realtor, Brandon? Is that what you're saying? I don't know if that's what you're saying about, but either way, like the editing makes or breaks your photos. So like picking a good editor like Brandon's done is really good. Ooh, that's a good straight on. They did it.
Lights are off in the dining room over there.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. What do you think here?
A little bit too low. Contradicting myself. I would have raised the camera up like 6 inches. Get a little bit more over that table, but other than that, yeah, that's good. Dining room only shot, good.
Look what the editor did here. They just straight up like mask. They didn't mask this up. I would have just opened this all the way, Brandon, just to show out there because it's nice and green and stuff. I don't know if there's a reason you couldn't, but yeah, you can see like what the editor did is so this is for sure like hand blended because they literally went in Photoshop and they masked out the window and replaced it with a darker bracket. And you can see they had a tad of laziness just for a split second there.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know about hand blending, they'll pull the window pull from the darkest bracket. They also pull the blinds from the darkest bracket.
Yeah, especially when it's a lot like that. I don't blame them.
He said there was a real estate agent to the right of that photo.
Oh, that sounds right. You had something. Let's see. Okay. A little dark on the editing here, I think, like in this area. Especially on my side. I don't know if you agree, Jared.
Yeah, pull shadows up just a little bit.
They're doing some full on. They got the pogo stick, the froth goal. They got the. Okay, this one's backlit. These are hard photos. You can see there's like a ray from the sun here. My guess is the sun was like right here. That's why it's like really dark over here. I just think this photo is like a little almost too contrasty. Like it's really dark here and really bright in some other areas. So I think the editing and exteriors could be improved a little bit, but overall pretty good.
Pro tip: your editors are going to replace the sky anyway. Do this over the sky, block the sun out. Get rid of those rays. You're going to sky replace over your fingers. Don't put your hand over the house. It's going to make it impossible for them to edit out. But put it over the sky. They'll just sky replace right over it.
Yeah, it works well. Yeah, a little dark too. It does look better on the live screen, but on my end, it's like very dark. So I think the exterior just need to be lightened a little bit. I think kind of the same thing, a little cool. Again, and this is going to depend on your monitor a lot. So I don't know. Overall, good. I mean, deliverable for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, we went way more than the 6 photos. Brandon got the bonus round going on up in here. Last one, then we're going to go over to the next one. Then we'll do some Q&A and talk through some specific things. I mean, this is a good one. I just want to open the thing here if it was not nasty in there.
Yeah, close the cabinet a little bit more. Turn more to the left. Show less door. Show a little bit of door frame on the left side. Other than that, show the whole vanity. Don't cut the vanity off. That drives me nuts. Just turn a little bit more to the left. Show a little bit of door, a little bit of door frame.
Sorry, I thought you were done. I guess we'll do like 5 of each of these.
No, you're good, Brandon. We didn't put a limit. There's no rules here.
Yeah. Self-imposed limit, Brandon. These are, first of all, just like this, these are good photos. Like I can already tell you, these are great. These actually are like, I almost wonder if these are flash. I don't think so, but these are really good photos. Trying to like just give value here and find something.
Go back up there a little bit. Oh, I had plenty on that first one.
Oh, did you? This first, the comp was a little weird composition.
Verticals off, verticals tilted up. Get on the other side of that fireplace. Don't cut it. That's such a cool feature of the house, and you cut it in half almost, or you cut it like 25%. Step back, set your verticals up, get on the other side of that fireplace, get the chairs and the whole fireplace all in one.
Dude, this house is like, I don't think there's straight. Is this straight in real life?
I don't even know what you could say.
It's like made out of clay. This is a cool house. I mean, this is pretty good. I think it'd be a little, I don't know. I mean, overall, I think it's really good. Actually.
Verticals are still off on the right side.
That
side looks good.
The house like that.
Yeah, if you look at like where the TV, where the wall creases.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. More detail shot. We won't spend a lot of time on that one. Dude, whose are these? Are you here? Oh, see you later, Brandon. Hope you got something out of that. Good work. Go network away. Hopefully it's for real estate clients because your work's good enough to get some. Okay, so if you're here and you shot these, are these flash or do you just have like a really good editor? These are like very like soft in a good way. The biggest thing I would say is like the trash can should have been removed. Really good shot otherwise though.
Probably would have pulled that soap too. That's very bright.
Yeah, and there's some like clutter in here maybe. Overall good though. Dude, this house is cool. Like they did a lot of, I don't know. That's a good shot. I honestly don't have a lot of feedback on that one because I like that he showed the stone wall here. Or I guess it could be a she. He or she showed the stone wall here, but this is cut off. So like I don't know. I think overall it's good though.
Nobody else is gonna get this, but this looks like one of those like Granbury Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Like where did this design come from in the middle of Granbury, Texas?
Yep. Accurate.
Horizontals are off. I would have, if you're going to do a straight on, center it on something. In this case, you should have centered it on the bed. The bed feels a little off to the left, and the horizontal is like, it's tilted a little bit to the right. So just turn it left, take a step to your lleft, center that bed.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. Oh, man, and almost straight on. I think it might have been inevitable in this one, but what I want to do, Jared, let me find a shot, and I like when we have the audience. Look at this. These walls are so interesting. Like, that's just straight up like clay. Let me find one that we can ask what the audience would do. All right, here it is. Jared's having so much trouble not saying it. Same as me. What do you guys think on this photo? What would you recommend? What are changes you would recommend? Put it in the comments. We're going to wait. Who's going to get it first? Who's going to get the thing that Jared's going to first see first is the real question. There's 53 people and no one's guessed yet. I guess it's not a guess. You either know it. Okay. Lower and fixed horizontals. Crop down. Yeah. I mean, the biggest one I would say is I don't know that I don't think necessarily lower. I mean, it could be, but you don't have a lot of upper cabinets to contend with. I think if we go too much lower, you're not going to see much countertop, but definitely here, look at this. The horizontal, the gap here is bigger than the gap here. It's like, and there's nothing worth showing over here. So yeah, fixing that. And the verticals are off a little bit. It's hard to get a reference on this photo though, because these walls are round.
Almost feels zoomed in. I don't know. Yeah, I would have fixed the horizontals and like pull back as much as you can. That's the reason I don't like straight-ons and long kitchens like this, because I feel like you cut off half the kitchen to show the other half. When you could have just stepped over by that back door, stepped out of that room just to the left of it a little bit, gotten an angled shot and showed the entire thing at once.
Yeah. The drawer could have been closed too. Who said that first? I saw it a second ago. I think it was Darren. No, someone, was it you, Aaron? Yeah, I think you got it right. Someone said hole in the door. Yeah, it's a dog door, I think. Cutting board. Yeah, I was looking at that, Dave. I probably would have pulled that personally. I think that's more of a preference thing though. Overall, it looks pretty good.
Laid it on that counter on the left side just to give it some color.
Let's see. Hang on one second. I want to see if I can find some other ones. We may just go into Q&A. I guess I have one more, but hang tight, everybody, really quick. Also, Ali, if you're here, you sent over your Instagram, and we did the Instagram critique last week. I'm going to send you a video if you're here. Are you here, Ali? If so, let me know. Also, I know you spoke with Rod recently. I saw those notes come through, and so we're excited to work with you and launch potentially. But yeah, I will send you a video critiquing your Instagram for you after. Let me set a reminder real quick. Remind me in 10 minutes, Ali Instagram critique. I will over to you. Ali. Anyway.
Dave, I wasn't sure if those were lights or if that's like surround sound speakers.
Oh, I think those are lights. All right. Geez, that's a big house.
I do not like the sky on the virtual twilight.
Yeah, a little dingy.
It feels a little bit like the end of the world. And you can see where it was mashed around the house. It was just like, I like natural skies. You know, not too much purple. I don't like Mars.
Yeah, a lot of Mars skies happen. Fine, let's critique 2 photos on here before we go to Q&A. These are like, okay, here's the thing. All of these shoots that we've critiqued, except for the one with bad editing, have been Norman and Young delivery ready. Just keep that in mind. Want to keep reiterating that. I don't think there's any reason to spend a lot more time. And like, these are amazing photos. I mean, like, is there actually any problem with these, Jared?
Give me a second.
These are like the best ones we've seen so far, I think.
Sun flare on that one on the left side.
Yeah, a little sun flare. It's kind of okay though. I mean, it's not awful style wise. Straight on.
I mean, they look really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we can change anything on this.
Hello, Mars, dude. BPEG sends the most purple Mars-looking skies. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, well, that's something to keep in mind too. I think for everybody, your editor, like they need your feedback, just like an employee needs your feedback in a lot of cases. So you got to tell them what you want. But with that being said, what questions you guys have? Drop in the comments. We got another 10 minutes or so to hang out. These lives are every Thursday. There's always a different topic. Sometimes they're just open Q&As. Last week was an Instagram critique, which didn't get saved, unfortunately. So that one is not archived on the channel, but the rest of them are archived. Do we replace TV screens anymore, Jared? I forget.
Black TV screen replacements. We'll do it with photos, but they pay for it. It's an upcharge. We used to do it stock. And honestly, most of our clients didn't like it.
Yeah, that was me thinking for our clients when I should have just asked if they liked it. There's only a few that did. Yeah, so drop your questions in here. Obviously, we'd love to talk about photos specifically because that's the topic of this one. But you know me, if you ask a business question, I'm gonna get excited. And then we're gonna talk about that, and it's a whole thing.
Oh, I told somebody to save a question.
Oh, whoever was told to save your question, ask it again. I think it was about lens choice, if I recall correctly, Jared.
What's best focus or autofocus settings to get everything in focus? Aperture f9. That will get the majority of your picture in focus. Manual or auto is totally up to you. I'm an auto fan. I check every bracket in between shots, though. I check my focus every time before I shoot. If you don't want to have to do that, just go with manual. Set it and go. I'm just so used to. I just got in the habit of. I check where my focus point is before every shot. I check my darkest bracket after every shot, and then I move on. So, totally up to you.
What is a 3/4 bed semi? That's probably how it's called. I just have never heard that before. Like, are you asking
3 bed, 4 bath, 30 minutes.
30 minutes to an hour for just photos. Here's the thing that's really true though. Like Jared and I, a vacant house that's 3 bedrooms and there's nobody like dude,
Trent.
Yeah, Trent, like
10 minutes.
Yeah. So like, and he like literally will run. Oh, semi-detached. Interesting. Yeah. So here's what I would say though. A new photographer could take an hour and a half for the same house. And so what happens is when you first shoot and you first become a real estate photographer, I mean, you're going to spend an hour and a half for a standard photo package. But that's going to keep going down in time as you get more experience. Like Jared and I, in an hour and a half, we can do photos, video, 3D tour, drone photos, floor plan, like, and again, but that's not always the case, right? Sometimes you get to a house, the agent's a real talker, the house is messy, or cleaning stuff, and it can take longer. But like generally, the rule of thumb, just to answer your question directly, 4 shoots per day consistently is pretty reasonable to be as a full-time schedule. there's plenty of people who've done more than that per day average. That's working a lot. But 4 per day is like a pretty comfortable amount if you want to work like normal hours. And so you can do the math on that. I mean, that's why real estate photographers can make great money, right? I mean, if you're doing $250 average order value, doing 3 to 4 shoots a day average, that's $1,000 a day. Let's call it $750 a day average, and then you do that 5 business days a week. That's $4,000, and then you do that 4.25 weeks a month. That's 16 grand. And that's how you see solo real estate photographers that don't have a team. They're doing 16 to 20 grand a month, and in some cases 25 and 30 grand. We have a guy in coaching who has like pretty high average order value. He just actually led our launch call on Monday, which is cool. So he came and coached the people that were, in his footsteps. And he thinks he can do a $40,000 month by himself in busy season this year. So like, do I think that's the best thing? No, like I would love to have a team. He wants to maximize the amount of money he makes. Is 40K by yourself as a solo photographer in a month reasonable in every market? No, but like 20K is in every market, right? You don't have to have a crazy market to do that. So I think that's pretty cool. And obviously, like I made a joke earlier about how I like talking about the business side of things, and here I am talking about the business side of things. But that's why we get into real estate media, right? And like to me, if you're going, okay, here's the goal. It's I want to build this business. Whatever the goal is the goal. Maybe it's for you to make more money. Maybe it's for you to have more time. Maybe it's both. Maybe you want to hire and build a team in your area. Maybe you've always wanted to own a business. Like there's a million different reasons. And real estate media is just how we achieve that. And so that's why to me, it's like, okay, we got to get the photos where the agents are going to love them and then stop focusing on that. And then once we get there, also, we got to make that process as fast as possible so we can focus on what matters, which is agents want it quick. They want it in and out. You don't want to be spending a lot of time in the house. Like you want to have time to focus on getting more clients. And so just keep that in mind. I almost dislike doing photo critiques because I'm like, I really don't want to mislead anybody and have them spend any more time on something that doesn't matter. So all of those shoots, except for the one with bad editing, dude, they're good enough. Like they are good enough, and they're great. Actually, they're not just good enough. Whenever I say that, people are like, "I want to have great photos." They're great. We deliver them at Norman.
I want to crush 2 gear questions real quick, and then I like the one about the dropping in to agents.
Where are the gear questions? Click all. Click.
Canon RP. What wide angle lens do you use? 16 to 35 f4. We use a Viltrox. It's like a $50-$60 adapter. And then somebody asked about tips on white balance. We use auto. The problem that you were having with your white balance is you were editing your own photos. Send them to an editor, let them do it.
Everybody here should edit their own photos, just like generally a good PSA. Keep that in mind. Please don't edit your own photos. It will hold you back and it costs you more money. I know you're like, no, it doesn't, because like it costs me to edit. Like your time has a value. And if you just use that time using the Instagram method, you would get more money than you saved by editing your own photos, and your photos would be better. So you're more likely to get referrals and more likely to keep clients.
Oh, and then somebody asked about a 10 millimeter lens on a 1.5 crop. That is what you should be using. An 18 millimeter, you're looking at like a 27 millimeter lens after your crop factor. So yeah. 10 millimeter, perfect. And then somebody asked, is it a good idea to walk into realtors' offices as a drop in? They check canvassing laws in New Jersey, and it's considered soliciting. We call first. They have a snack table. It's like 5 above the one you're highlighting right now. What?
I mean, are you not allowed to solicit with those laws where you are? Or like,
I mean, even then, even if you are allowed to, if you just walk in empty-handed to a realtor office, you're the sales guy. You're the guy they want to get out of there as soon as possible. We call first. Do y'all have a snack table? They say yes, dude. We go to Dollar Tree. We'll get a basket. We'll get a bunch of snacks. We'll get some business cards. Load it all in the basket, drop it off, introduce ourselves. We didn't come in as the sales guys. We came in to give them some snacks. We've probably gotten 20 agents off of one brokerage just dropping off snack baskets.
Yeah. Lighthouse is like, these guys recommend outsourcing. We definitely do. Here's the thing too. It does depend on your goals. I just don't think like, I'd love, anybody that wants to edit their own, I always like to have that deeper conversation of like, what are your goals? Because on the surface, it can make sense to edit yourself. I just think there are very few times it actually does. And like, if your goal is to grow your business, you have to have somebody else do it, right? Like you can never be like, you can't have a business doing 50K a month if you edit your own photos, promise you. And so that's why it's always like, it's a conversation of goals, but a lot of times they will use a goal to mask what's really a fear. And so a lot of photographers will say like, oh, I love editing. And like, do you, or do you like spending time with your family more than editing? And they're like, well, my family does. I'm like, then why are you spending all night editing? It's like you talk with them and I'm really fearful that like, if I outsource my editing, my clients aren't going to use me, or I have this belief that I am not a real photographer if I don't edit my photos. And all of those are like, little things you want to dig into and be like, where's that come from? All right, we got one more question. Let's find it here. Hold on one sec. Maybe we don't have one more. I think we're relatively caught up. So anyway, hope you guys got value out of this today. Let's see. I thought there was another one. Would you send video to an editor as well? Yes, 100%. Video almost more so because it's another learning curve. So absolutely. Do that. Yeah, you want to get the VIP one?
Yeah, here, let me look up I have to look up what our VIP program is every time.
You do have a VIP program though. And while Jared's doing that, while he's looking it up, if you haven't yet, we'd love to work with you in our coaching cohort that's starting this month. I'll put the link there. It's replaunch.com/apply. If you are new to this business and you're between $0 and $2,000 a month, even if the zero is you haven't even touched the camera before, we'd love to work with you in our launch program, which would take you from that point to owning a business. And the cool thing is, based upon you, your market, your availability, and everything else that we learn from you when we get on this call and game plan with you, we give you a custom guarantee where we give you a big portion of your investment back if you don't hit it and you do what we say. So we stand behind our coaching. It's not just, hey, good luck. We're going to work with you. And if you do what we say and you don't hit it, we're going to back you in that circumstance as well too. So that's why we have such a high success rate. We're motivated in the same way you are. So replaunch.com/apply. Jared, did you find it?
Yes. So our VIP program is priority delivery. First shoots we deliver every morning. And a lot of this is stuff we just did anyway. Custom shopping cart. I've had like maybe 3 take me up on that. Custom packages. Again, maybe 3 took us up on that. Our packages are pretty good as is. Priority on new products and services. So anytime we drop a new product, they get it a week early and they get their first one free. That works out for them and it works out for me because I have stuff to post on socials and I get opinions on it early. We send our VIP photographers. So we have a new, tier of photographer at Norman & Young, which are VIP photographers. They shoot with an A7 III. And there are just our best photographers. They only get scheduled on VIP clients. Priority scheduling, again, we do it anyway. If they need it, we'll make it work. But we're just telling them that. Free basic reshoots, we do it anyway. But if they change the paint in the master bedroom, we'll go reshoot it for free. And we did an upgraded referral program. So instead of getting credit for referring, because the idea is VIPs will refer VIPs, our VIPs, when they refer, get a free package. I don't care if it's our $900 package.
You know what you too? If you want that list, DM Jared at It's Jared Nolan. Why is your name not showing up, Jared? That's weird. Normally it does on here. Let me see if it's because I have this banner up. Yeah, it is. There's this Instagram handle. DM him on Instagram and he will just shoot you over what he said. Because I know he has it in text format because he sent it over in our Slack channel the other day. So on that note, thanks for
every time to find it in the Slack channel.
yeah, go DM him VIP now. So he already found it. I know for sure. Hope you guys got something out of that. Thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday.